All right, class, this is the Bell Linear for this morning. It asks to find the solutions for each graph. And again, the solution for the graphs are the intersections where the linear line crosses the parabola. And so real quick, 200. So these are my solutions. So these are my solutions right there. Okay. So this will be, the first one will be 0, -2, and 3, 1. Okay. For the second system, there's only one intersection which occurs at the vertex, which is 1, -3. 1, -3. And this one has no solution because the lines do not intersect. No solutions. Okay. Okay, today's lesson now is I'm going to give you, you're going to ask to find the solution to the system algebraically. All right, so I'm not going to give you the graphs, I'm going to give you the equation you're asked to find a solution. And so a quick review on how we factor quadratic equations. The first one is 2x squared plus x minus 3. So let me review that real quick. Let me go to a new page, right? So we have new page. Okay, so here we go. How do we factor 2x squared? 2x squared plus x minus 3. Okay. So remember, a couple weeks ago we learned how to use the sliding divide method. Slide the 2 over, multiply by -3, and that gives me -6. So my new equation is going to be x squared plus x minus 6. Then I find the factor of 6. So when I add them, it gives me 1. Remember, there's a 1 right here, we just want to write it. So when I find the factor of 6. So when I add them, it gives me 1, but when I multiply, it gives me -6. And those factors are 3 and -2. So x plus 3 and x minus 2 are my factors. But because I multiplied at the beginning here, I've got to undo that multiplication. So I'm going to divide the factors by 2. Now when I divide 3 by 2, I get a decimal. So I'm going to multiply the x by 2, and that gives me 2x plus 3. On the second factor, 2 divided by 2 is 1, which is good. It gives me an integer, so I'm going to write x minus 1. And that is equal to 0. Set the factors to 0, and that gives me 2x plus 3. Oops. That gives me 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. And then a minus 3 on both sides, and divide by 2. That gives me x is equal to -3 over 2. And for the other one is x minus 1 equals 0, and x is equal to 1. So that's in fact that equation. The next one is x squared minus 4x. X squared minus 4x. Again, this is not a difference of square because the second term, this is not a perfect square. So I can't take the square root of both sides. However, my next step is find the GCF. The GCF here is just x, which is a factor. So once I add the GCF now, I'm going to divide each term by the GCF, and that gives me x minus 4. So that is one factor, and my GCF is the other factor. Now let me put this side there. And my GCF is the other factor, and that is equal to 0. Set both factors to 0 now, I'm going to have x minus 4 is equal to 0. That's this factor, and then GCF to 0. That is good, that's already solved. And this is equal to x equals 4. All right? And then the other one is x squared plus 8x plus 16. Now, the long way of doing this is find factor of 16, right? And then see which pair adds and give you 8. But if you notice now, I don't have to do that route. I notice this is a perfect square trinomial. If I divide 8 by 2, it's 4. If I divide 8 by 2, that gives me 4, and then I square it, it's 16. So that is a perfect square trinomial. So my factors are just x plus 4 and x plus 4. Alright. And so set it equal to 0, x plus 4 is equal to 0, and x plus 4 is equal to 0. So my answer is just x is equal to -4 because they're the same x. -4. All right, so let's jump into, let's quick review of factoring. If you're still struggling on this, go back and check the Canvas pages on factoring, or just type into YouTube how to factor quadratic equations. Okay? Now let's dive into how do we solve the system here. Now, and on the first page, it tells you the steps how to solve it. All right? So the first step is I want to set both equations equal where sub y in both equations. So this one is already good because I have x squared minus 7 equals y. I can just move the y to the other side and it becomes, let's get this away. I need this other way. So this becomes now y is equal to x squared minus 7. So that's good. This one now I've got to solve for y. So let's do that. I have x minus y is equal to 7. To get y by itself, I'm going to minus x here and minus x there. So that gives me negative y is equal to negative x plus 7. But now you notice I'm not done yet because this is a negative y. It has to be positive because I want a positive y. So I'm going to multiply by negative 1 now. And when I do that, I get my positive y. So negative 1 times negative y is y. Negative 1 times negative x is a positive x, and a minus 7. So now I have both equations now. Look at that. They're both defined for y. All right. So let's go ahead and solve the system now. And so here we go. Near the page. So I'm going to have y is equal to x squared minus 7. Remember that equation? And the other one is, what is it again? It is y equals x minus 7. Y equals to x minus 7. Now, how do we solve this equation for x? Well, I can't use elimination because I have x squared and x, so you can't cancel x. So I'm going to do substitution. Just set both equations equal to each other. So I'm going to have x squared minus 7 is equal to x minus 7. And then, remember, to factor an equation, to solve a final factor of a quadratic equation, it has to be equal to 0. So I'm going to have to move the x and the 7 to the other side. To do that, I'm going to cancel that. Minus x and a plus 7 cancel. And so minus x and a plus 7 here. And so now the right side is equal to 0. On the left side, what do I have left? Well, I have 1x squared. I have 1 minus x, and the 7's cancel out each other. So now I'm left with x squared minus x equals 0. And the fact of this, I'm just going to find the GCF. The GCF is just x. All right, the GCF is equal to x. So I'm going to divide each term by x, divide this by x, divide by x. And that gives me now x squared divided by x is x. And x divided by x is 1. This gives me 1 right here, and an x. And so that's one factor right here. The other factor is my GCF, which is x. And that is equal to 0. Set it equal to 0 now, I'm going to have x is equal to 0. That's one factor. The other factor is x minus 1 equal to 0. But this is good. All right? And so we add 1 both sides, x is equal to 1. All right? So those are the solution. And the other equation, number 2, is y equals x squared plus 4x minus 2. Now, this equation is always defined for y. That's good. I'm not going to mess with that equation. This one is not. I got to solve for y. To do that, I'm just going to minus x on both sides. And so now that goes away. I'm left with y is equal to minus x minus 6. So now I have both equations where they're defined for y. So on the next, so we have y equals x minus 6. We have y is equal to is it x minus 6? Oh, I can't remember again. Where are you? Yeah, negative x minus 6. So y is equal to negative x minus 6, and our equation is y is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 2. Good? Now, at this point now, again, I'm going to set both equations equal to each other. So x squared plus 4x minus 2 is going to be equal to minus x minus 6. All right, now I'm here. I've got to set the equation equal to 0. So therefore, I'm going to cancel. Then I'm going to add a plus x and a plus 6 to cancel the right side, but also add a plus x and a plus 6 on the left side. This gives me 0 on the right side. On the left side now, let's come on like terms. I have 1x squared. I have a 4x and x, that's just 5x. And then minus 2 plus 6 is a plus 4. Let's calculate this now. I'm not going to use this side divide because the coefficient is just 1, so there's no side divide. So let's find the factor of the 4. So when I add them, it gives me 5, but when I multiply, it gives me 4. Alright, so 4 is just 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. Alright, so the pair I'm going to use is 1 and 4. So I'm going to use x plus 1 and x plus 4, and that is equal to 0. And then when I have x plus 1 is equal to 0, x plus 4 is equal to 0, and then x is equal to negative 1, and x is equal to negative 4. Good? Pretty straightforward there. And the last one is number 3. Oh, there's 2 more. Okay. So number 3 is, okay, this one is good. All right, I'm not going to mess with that equation because y equals to this one. All I'm going to do is minus 3 on both sides, and that's going to give me y is equal to x minus 3. So now I have y is equal to here. All right, so let's get a new page now. So we have y equals x minus 3. So y is equal to x minus 3. That's one equation. The other one, y is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 7. Right. At this point, now I'm going to set both equations equal to each other. So I'm going to have x squared minus 6x plus 7 is equal to x minus 3. All right, so I'm going to move everything from the right side to the left side. I'm going to cancel. So therefore, I'm going to have a minus x and a plus 3 on the right side, left side, minus x and a plus 3. That becomes 0. On the left side now, I'm going to have an x squared. I have 1x squared and 2 x's. I have a negative 6 and negative x. I give me a negative 7x, and then plus 10. Again, look at 10. What factors am I going to use? So my factors of 10 are 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. The only 2 I can use are, the only pair I can use is 25. So it's going to be x minus 2 and x minus 5. All right, that's be negative. And that is equal to 0. Therefore, x minus 2 equal to 0, and x minus 5 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to 2, and x is equal to 5. Good? And then the last one is, let's see, what's the last one? Number 4. All right. Again, this equation is good. So this one I can get y by itself. Therefore, I'm going to add a 6 here and a 6 there. That gives me now y is equal to minus 4x plus 6. All right. So we're going to have y is equal to minus 4x plus 6, and the other equation is y is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 7. Okay, set both equations equal to each other now. And so I'm going to have x squared minus 2x plus 7, and that is equal to minus 4x plus 6. Again, I need this equation equal to 0, so I'm going to cancel the right side. I'm going to move everything to the left side. So therefore, I'm going to add a 4x and a minus 6. Add a 4x and a minus 6. Okay, the right side now becomes 0. My left side now is, let's combine like terms. I have 1x squared. I have a minus 2 and a plus 4. That gives me a plus 2x. And then this gives me a positive 1. Okay. All right, guys, so now I have factored this, and so again, I look at the C value 1. What are the factors of 1, right, of 1, such that when I add them, I get 2, but when I multiply, when I add, it gives me 2, but when I multiply, it gives me 1. Well, the factors of 1 are 1 and 1. Right, 1 times 1 is 1. So therefore, I'm going to have x plus 1 and x plus 1 equals to 0. And that is equal to x plus 1 is equal to 0, and x plus 1 is equal to 0. X is equal to negative 1. Same answer. But if you notice, I didn't have to go through this process right here. I notice this is a perfect square trinomial. If I divide b, which is 2, divide 2 by 2, which is 1, and when I square 1, it gives me 1, which is the last term. So it takes practice to recognize that. This is a perfect square trinomial, so my answer is going to be, again, x plus 1 square, or, x plus 1. Good? So that's today's video right there. Hopefully this helps you.